Hey everyone, Ray Pankern, certified financial planner with Legacy Wealth Partners. One of the things that we're seeing, and you can read the news, unemployment's going up, people are getting laid off. I'm getting clients, friends of clients calling me, asking, hey Ray, I have a friend that was laid off. What, do you know anybody that is hiring? What should I do? And so one of the things I want to do is reach out to the people in my network, people that are experts in this arena. And today I have Mona Laird Rafeedie. She's a corporate headhunter for Corporate Resources. It's her business. And Mona, share a little bit about your business, how long you've been doing it for, and then I'm going to ask you some questions that I think are relevant to people who are trying to find work. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ray. So good to be here today. So Corporate Resources is a boutique agency in Baton Rouge that I've had for about 11 years now. I've been recruiting for over a decade, and we specialize in permanent placement. We don't perform any temporary staffing.
Okay.
And I am open to hear your questions and hoping to be able to assist some people, because I know this is an awfully trying time for many of us.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So one of the things I think about is, let's imagine I've been working for a company for a long time, and I probably updated my resume, my LinkedIn. I've just been happy. I got job security, and then all of a sudden this coronavirus happens, and I'm let go. Businesses that were recession proof are shutting down their doors. And so if I'm somebody that has worked for a company for a long time and I've been let go, if I'm looking to find work, what are the things I should be thinking about doing during this time?
Really good question. So the first step in any career search is to update your resume with accurate, correct information. A big faux pas would be someone who might stretch a date or stretch a title, or perhaps feel like that showing a gap, etc., is unattractive. But what is most important is to always be truthful on your resume, because if the information is checked and background screened, then you don't want to have something on your resume that doesn't correctly reflect your character and your integrity and all the hard work that you've put into it. So first of all, be truthful. The second piece of advice that I want to share that I believe is critically important is to get at least 2 written letters of recommendation. They don't have to be a long thesis, simply 1 or 2 paragraphs from a former employer, or if you're in a sales related role, perhaps a client or customer that you've served well. And a lot of people will say, oh, I have great references. Oh, I can get that letter. But if you have those letters and you've obtained those written letters of recommendation, they're great history. It could be an email from someone saying, hey, thank you, great job. But that is someone's permission and authentication from themselves directly that you have been an excellent employee and what your strengths are. And if you have those written letters of recommendation going in, it makes it a whole lot easier, and it could actually be what I like to say, the cherry on top of the sundae that could get you to the next level and put you in the forefront of someone's mind. So a written letter of recommendation is a big help.
Yeah, I would think if you were at a company that is forced to let go because of the economy, but you've done great work for them, you should be very, very comfortable asking your manager or whoever your boss was, hey, look, I know this is a tough decision. You want to let me go? If I could ask one thing is, could you write a letter of recommendation for me? And I would think if you've done good work for me, I'd have no problem doing that for you. So I mean, that's great advice.
Because once you've exited or left, who knows, so your supervisor could also be let go or become ill, or you lose touch with those people for whatever reason. So having that information is always important, and keeping it and building it, in a file that you keep for years and years. You never know when you're going to need something, or be able to, or need that information.
So I'll be honest with you, Mona, I've not written a resume up, in a long time. I've been fortunate that in my career, I was able to connect with people that had an entry into a position. And my resume from there is like, I've worked for independent small businesses where just the word of mouth of who I was got me into the door. But let's say I need to get my resume up to date. I'm guessing what I learned in college, which was many years ago, on how to fill out a resume is different today. So what would you advise somebody that needs help creating a resume? And then two, what are some of the good things that you see are good in resumes? And what are some of the things that people are doing that probably isn't necessary or even just bad to do on resumes? How would you answer that question?
Good question. First, I want to say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So the information, how it's translated is different for each person who's reviewing the information. So for instance, if you were applying for an opportunity at an engineering firm, your resume would probably look very different than if you were interviewing for a career opportunity at a social media marketing company. So some things that could be quite attractive to some employers might possibly be interpreted as not the right fit for others. If it's information that is not understood or easily read by the person who's reviewing those, then that could be problematic. So I would say know your audience. Know your audience, and you can always go into a lot of detail once you get a phone interview or an in-person interview. But a lot of people like to refer to the one-page rule on a resume. That's great, but 2 pages is also, to me, just as attractive. I like to see a synopsis of duties in bullet form. People sometimes will leave off their computer skills, which are, some people think, oh, well, everyone knows Excel, everyone knows Outlook. Well, that's not necessarily true, and you want to play up on your strengths. You never know. The old-fashioned knowing the 10 key, type the 10 key of the numerical 10 key is also important sometimes if you're applying for an accounting type role. Right. So I would say to just be able to be a little fluid in how you send your resume, if possible, to know your audience. And you may not always know the employer to which you are applying, but you'll know the position. Yeah. And you should be able to tailor that resume honestly with the skills that you possess for that position.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know a lot of people may minimize their skill set, and I'm sure you encourage a lot of people like, hey, this work that you've done in this industry, it can translate to this other thing. Let's just help articulate that a little bit better. Don't minimize your gifts, your abilities, because there are things that you know how to do that are very important. You just got to learn how to portray that in a resume. One example is my brother's in the military, and he's been in the military for over 20 years, and he's not retiring yet, but he is getting close to retiring. He's probably 5 years or so away. And one of the things we talk about is he may not have, I may have a corporate experience, but man, you're a leader of men in the battlefield, running an organization. To be able to articulate that in a resume, if you're hiring somebody, you go, wow, look at that stuff. So get some help. If I've never done this before, my resume is out of date, get some help for somebody to help you articulate your gifts, because I do think that you may minimize your abilities. I just see that in people, they kind of discount what they can do in any type of role. Would you say that's a fair assessment? Would you say that, Mona?
Yes. And I'm not, I did have a friend who I could refer to that wrote terrific resumes, but she's actually ill right now. Yeah. And what I suggest to people is I've had people walk into my office and tell me that they've paid, $1,000 plus for a resume writing service, and that's simply not necessary.
Right.
If you're applying for, if it's a CEO position and you have the money to spend, then I'm sure that those services are wonderful. But if you are unemployed and you have limited funds, then there are several different sites online that you can find for as little as $3 to as many as, a couple hundred that
Right.
can help you out. Just be sure that you get the information back in a file that you can add or make some changes to if you're going to spend your own money, and get some help with that.
That's good advice. So Mona, one of the things that you've shared with me and is, you kind of serve in the middle where you help people place people into permanent roles. And so they're coming to you saying, hey, here's my resume. I want to apply for a job. What are the mistakes people make? Because I know a lot of times you go, if I'm trying to get work, I may have a misconception or something I think is the right thing, maybe the wrong thing. What are some mistakes people make trying to apply for work, coming to you, going to talk to an employer? What are those mistakes that you see from the resume to the interview process to, the way they dress? And what are all those things that you see that are little things that just minor tweaks that will give you some credibility and help you get a job that maybe people neglect when it comes to applying for a job?
Good question. And, now it is a difficult process to find employment. And it's tougher than ever for many reasons. The pandemic, of course, but even prior to the pandemic, with so many different hiring platforms available, so many different companies have invested in different types of software, and those are good platforms, but they may be unknown to the people who are searching for those particular jobs. So it's diluted the way in which people apply and made things a lot more confusing, in my opinion. So don't simply rely on only online platforms. I talk to people who are wonderful and have great experience and are just exacerbated because they'll say, Mona, I get on my computer on Monday morning at 8 o'clock and I don't do anything but apply for jobs until 5 o'clock that day. And I've done that for a week straight and I haven't gotten one call back. And that can be so disheartening.
Sure.
So don't rely only on the online platform of applying for work. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. A lot of jobs, especially in the recruiting business, are obtained by referrals. So work your own personal network, and try to make as many connections and cast your bread not only in just the online platform, but reaching out to as many people who might actually know the body behind the screen. And just like you said, wearing the appropriate attire. So I always tell people to look the part, but dress for the salary that they want. Just dress appropriately, and the most important thing to wear is a smile. The most important thing to wear is a smile. When you get a face-to-face interview, you have one shot at making a first impression. So sometimes we can let our negativity or our angst or our emotions take over, and in an interview, it's just simply not the right time and place to do that. So no matter what's going on, always be honest and truthful, but the person who is the most energetic and excited about the opportunity is going to be the person who gets called back for a second interview, or possibly the person that gets that offer.
That is great advice. I mean, I think there's so much power in what you believe about yourself translate into how you portray yourself, right? And what you believe about what's going on. I mean, and it is very hard, I'm going to be sensitive, but to be very hopeful and optimistic about what's going on. The coronavirus, what we're seeing with the racial tension. Here in Louisiana, we got a concern of a hurricane coming. It's a lot of stress, but if you can really maintain a hope about yourself and believe in yourself, that'll translate. And sometimes there may be some doors that close, but if you just keep consistent, I think that's very powerful. I love what you said about dressing for the salary you want. There's just something to wearing a nice wearing a nice suit. It sticks out. I mean, I can tell you when I wear a nice suit, people are like, oh man, that looks really good. And when they compliment you, it makes you feel good about yourself. So there's something to it that I think is very powerful. And one thing you said earlier, that is your network. And you got to be, I think in these days, you got to be bold. Like who are people that are working positions that you'd like to be in? And I know somebody reached out to me and said, hey, Ray, I want to be a financial planner. Can I take you to grab some coffee? And I just want to learn how you got to be in your position. I would welcome that conversation anytime because they're hungry and they want to learn. And guess what? I'm going to remember that person going, you know what? If something does appear that'd be a good fit, I'm going to say, hey, go talk to this person. I had coffee with them. So building your network, I think, is maybe we depend on technology so much. We got all these resources, but really there's power in just going to have coffee with somebody and sharing your story and let them know what you're looking for. You never know. I mean, you and I are in a networking group, and you never know what through a conversation that I have with somebody could be an opportunity for you. And so being comfortable, grabbing coffee with somebody, most people I find that will welcome, a 30-minute conversation about what they do. Now, people are busy. I mean, not everybody's open to do that, but I know if somebody reached out to me to grab a cup of coffee, and I've done it before, if I can give back to somebody and give them some ideas to improve their situation, most people will do it. Now, if you go there, and I would say go there with some humility. Not, hey, what can you do for me? But, hey, I want to learn what you did. And what's I think if you approach it that way, I know my approach to life has been that way. And the doors that have opened up, just going to sit at somebody's feet and learning about their story and how they were successful, most people welcome that. I mean, would you agree with that? Would you say to that, Mona?
Yes, for sure. And with the environment being the way that it is today, I want to also share that in the state of Louisiana, all employment fees are employer paid. So I suggest and encourage you to reach out to the different recruiting agencies in our area. And even, if you're up for relocation, there are different agencies that specialize in medical sales placement or legal placement or whatever it is that you are wanting to do. But know this, the most important skill or the most important information that you can include on your resume is your relevant experience. So if you have relevant experience, that is the biggest advantage that you have in the hiring process. So connect with recruiters, either internally or externally, and do not take it as rejection if you don't get an immediate response. I know I come across a lot of people that say that recruiter didn't call me back, or this recruiter didn't call me. Thank you for calling me. But the truth is that who knows how many people are actually applying for that very same opportunity. And it may just not even be possible for one person to return calls or emails in that manner. If you are truly qualified and it is a real search, I want to share, sometimes companies will have an ad running that perhaps they do end up filling internally. They'd like to see whom else may be out there, but those positions sometimes are filled internally. So don't take it personally and don't take it as rejection if you don't hear back immediately. Dig your feet in and keep on trying, because eventually the right thing will happen for you. It takes patience. Sometimes, people will ask, how long is this going to take before you think I get an offer? And this is my answer. It could be a day, a week, a month, or a year. But just hang in there, because the good news is that if you are honest and hard work, and there is a career out there for you, you just have to find it. And recruiters can help. Recruiters can help.
That's great advice. Well, Mona, this was awesome. I've learned a lot just in the conversation. So I hope people that are watching this will find your nuggets of information useful. I guess two things: any closing thoughts, and then two, if somebody want to contact you, get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
My email address is listed on my website, which is kind of lengthy. It's www.corporateresources.llc.com, and all my information is listed there. And I want to encourage everyone to just never give up. You know, like Winston Churchill said, this is a trying time for us all, but work gives us purpose. And if we have a purpose-driven life, then what more could we truly ask for? And I know that the services that you offer are sincerely important in keeping just your sanity in a time like this. So as long as we all help each other along the way and do good and fair business, I do believe that we'll all be, like you said, I do believe we'll all be okay.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful what you said. And if I had one more thought to that, is maybe develop a little bit thick skin. If unemployment is so high, there's a position available. Many people are applying for it. So there's going to be an influx of people applying for jobs. So stay persistent, stay consistent, believe in yourself, do the little things, and just have hope and belief that the right door for you is going to open, because I believe it will. I think to your point that you have
and businesses here can change. And you know, we are a big oil and gas industry driven environment, but there are other businesses that are popping up. And those same businesses, I have a new concept, someone that I just spoke with yesterday, but the business model is the same, even though the products may not be the same. He needs a warehouse manager. So, you know, we may have to change a little bit and morph a little bit, but as long as those basic skills are there, we can portray that in a good and positive way, and be willing to do the work. I mean, it's called work for a reason. We get a paycheck because we're trading our time for these efforts. And as long as we're willing to dig in and do the work, then finding the right career opportunity, it might take a minute, but don't give up, because it's out there for you.
Yeah. Well, great advice, Mona. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ray.
Reach out to Mona through her website. She's a great friend and a great resource in times like this. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.